welcome. Pull up a seat. This is our first podcast, Stories from the Pink Bus. My name is Karley.
And my name's Heather.
And like I said, first podcast, we aren't shooting at being perfectionists here. We're just getting the job done. And if you're new here, well, this is a great place to start.
Perfect.
What are we doing here?
Well, we wanted to have a place to connect with our friends that we've made while traveling and to keep everyone up to speed on what we're doing and who we are. And yeah.
You said it perfectly. We also are trying to chronicle all of the things that we've been doing for the last 6 years. Why did it take us
Right. We should have done this a long time ago.
6 years? I don't know, man. Better late than never, right? What are you going to do? But Our story is so complex, I think, that when people ask us, our story, we both simultaneously, get wide-eyed. Where do we even begin? And that's kind of how I feel about approaching this podcast, this first podcast. Just because I always think, well, how much time do you have? So,
right. Where do we begin?
Where do we begin? Well, we met in, what year was that? I'm bad with numbers. 12. We worked at a bakery cafe that shall not be named. The rest is history, yep. No, we met in 2012. We started dating in 2013. And, we just became fast friends, best friends, really.
Mm-hmm. We've always liked to go on adventures together. We used to go on factory tours.
Yes. We used to geocache. Who knows how to geocache or what geocaching is?
Yeah.
That was fun. And now our most latest adventure that we love to do, and I think we've done close to 50 of them now, are escape rooms.
Yeah, so those are the best. We love those.
Those are good. Life has been a journey. It's been an incredible ride. I don't even, know where to begin, really.
Well, why don't you tell them who you are a little bit, about yourself. I'll tell them a little bit about myself, and then we'll talk more about when we came together.
That sounds like a perfect plan.
Go ahead.
Well, Karley Davidson. I born and raised in the Metro Detroit area. I play music. I'm a guitar player. I use a loop pedal. I sing. So I'm a solo musician. And for the last, 15 years, I've prided myself off of, being able to do that for a living. Not many people get to go out and do what they love for a living, so that's one of them. And then I also work in radiation oncology. I'm a radiation therapist.
And who paid your way through college?
I did.
By playing music, every night of the week.
Yeah, burning the candle at both ends, really, is what I say. Getting up in the morning to go to clinic and then going to clinic all day, bringing a change of clothes and having my guitar in the car to drive immediately to a venue, change in the car and play a gig for 3 to 4 hours and then drive an hour home.
Yeah.
Do it all over the next day.
Yep.
That was wild. Those were wild times.
Mm-hmm.
Those were my early 20s.
And we were also planning our wedding, and we had a 40-foot bus in our driveway that we were working on.
Yeah, that's another thing. If you don't know us from all of the different careers that we've done, we also live in a pink school bus that we turned into an RV. Hence, what we're in right now. You can't really see it, but I tell you, from my perspective, we are in our living room, dinette, kitchen area. You laugh, but it's funny. It's funny because people don't get to see behind the scenes.
Basically, our whole marriage of over 6 years now.
Yeah,
we've lived in a small space, which it's a big bus, but it's still a small space.
Yeah, people thought we were crazy,
but it works for us.
It totally works for us. And so it's a studio right now. Got it all. I got the mood lighting and the mood candle, and it's our studio. And here in a little bit, we'll pack this all up and we'll make some lunch or something like that. Who knows? But the bus affords us the ability to travel the country. Before that, we lived in Michigan together, and we seldom got the chance to go explore. We'd go back to Indiana, where you're originally from. We'll get to that here in a second. But we'd travel a little bit, but we really didn't get the opportunity to to see all the stuff that we've seen.
So yeah, that works out. I can tell him I had moved to Michigan from about 4 hours south and where I was from. My hometown in Muncie, Indiana. My name's Heather, by the way. And that's where I was born and raised until I was about 25. And then I moved to Michigan because my best friend was there. And
Shout out Ashley.
yeah, good thing. They were there, brought me there. I ended up meeting Karley.
We all worked at the same bakery cafe that shall not be named.
Yeah, it's true.
I still
seems
remember.
like a lifetime ago, honestly. It's crazy.
It really does. I still remember the first time I worked with her and she was training me. If she's watching this,
Who, Ashley?
Oh yeah, she's gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. No, Ashley. And she goes, I was excited. I was excited to be in the working force. And she's like, oh honey, that's not gonna last long. And she brought me right back down to reality real quick.
She's good at that.
No, but we've been, it was really great that you moved up to Michigan. And
it worked out.
Yeah.
No, it did work out.
Everything happens for a reason. But yeah, tell them what you do for a living before we moved into the bus.
So yes, I was a manager at the bakery cafe for a while and decided that wasn't what I wanted to do forever. I needed to figure something else out.
Valid.
So I enrolled at a beauty school, cosmetology school. And so I learned how to do hair. Yep. And so now I do, on the road though, the logistics are you have to be licensed to work in every state and that's all blah, blah, blah. And I don't deal with it. So I do Karley's hair and I've taught her how to do my hair. And so we're self-sufficient in that way, which was especially great during COVID.
That was perfect during
But really
COVID.
all the time. So we can just take care of ourselves as we like to do anyway.
I appreciate you for the fact that you were able to teach me how to do your hair and we've become self-sufficient in that aspect. I think as women, we're very loving about our hair and we love that we can do that for each other.
Yeah.
That's the best part. What else?
Well, let's see. Well, we have 3 dogs. We have 3 Chihuahuas. So you may be seeing or hearing from them at any point in time that they feel that that's necessary.
That is true. This is really their bus.
It's their world. We just live in it and drive the bus.
Yes, absolutely. 3 Chihuahuas. They're all 9 years old-ish. 8, 9 years old, somewhere in there. And
the closest we'll ever have to be to having children.
they are our kids in my eyes. It's like you love them, man, but like, woo!
Always got to be thinking of them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's what's been nice about the bus, being able to travel the country and have a safe place for them always. You know?
Yeah, we get to take our home with us, so it's like packing up is easy. We can just go.
Yeah. There's a lot of logistics to it that I don't feel like getting into right now.
Right, right.
You should know, the viewer at home, if you're watching us or listening to us, there is a lot that goes on behind the
It's a
scenes.
trade-off, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but
A different kind of packing up.
yeah, well, for sure. But it's not out of reach, obviously. It's not unattainable. We've done it for now 6 years. We just celebrated our 6th anniversary here in the bus.
Yeah, that's true. November 1st.
Yeah. We're recording this on November 10th. So, yeah, it's been...
Right now we're currently in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, of all places. It's actually pretty beautiful here in the Ozarks. Eureka Springs is a very diverse and open-minded artistic space that we enjoy, that we didn't know that we enjoyed so much until we got here. So this is why we travel. We get to try new things, new places, meet new people.
In my head, I was going to call it eclectic, and you just got all the other adjectives.
Everything
so
else.
it's perfect.
Everything but.
It was perfect.
So...
Yeah, it's really been an incredible journey so far. We went to an open mic couple of
on Halloween.
On Halloween, yeah. And then ended up with a gig this next Saturday. And
Listen, let that be a lesson. I almost go into open mics expecting that Karley's going to pick up a gig because it happens more often than not.
you just got to stay humble, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I know some people think that they're above it. I would say we don't have an ego problem like that.
No, I think living in this lifestyle, it has
Well, it keeps you humble when you have to keep it's very grassroots at its core in
Absolutely.
every single way. It's just us on the streets doing the things and
Well, I think that's the coolest part, though, being able to, stay humble, of course, but know that you're out there doing everything and making something out of, the pure love and passion of the community that you choose to surround yourself with, So all the listeners at home and all of the, if you're watching us on video, it's because of you all that we get to put all out these types of forums in it's because of you that we get to do this. We, of course, we're going to go out there and do it anyway, right? But you know it's nice to build a community around us and know that wherever we go, we have friends in our corner. We already met friends here in Eureka Springs.
Absolutely.
We're like
some really great people.
Yeah.
They were very welcoming, and it was a really great feeling because that doesn't happen everywhere.
No.
It just doesn't, and that's okay. So I don't expect it. So then when it does, it blows me out of the water.
I respect that. I get that. But yeah, it's been a journey. So together we met, of course, at the bakery cafe. We moved in together. We rented a 3-bedroom house in Madison Heights, Michigan. That's where we lived together for, a couple years, more than a couple. But that's where it kind of all really blossomed. We lived together for the first time. We got to know the ins and outs.
It was like 3.5 years.
I think so.
Maybe 4.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But that was a nice little community. It was on a dead-end road. We had a bunch of great neighbors that...
But in all fairness, they're on top of each other. The properties there, the homes, they're on top of each other there. So if you could imagine... probably a foot in between the house next to us and a foot in between our driveway and the home we were staying in. And then we brought home a full-size bus, had to back it down the dead end, and then had to back it up the driveway, which was at a literal angle, like literally had to back it up. Words. There was no backup cam. Karley had never driven a bus before. Let's talk about buying the bus. So let's start there. This was Karley's idea. Okay, so when she was in her last year of college, I was like, okay, it feels like you're going to graduate college soon and be getting in your big girl job and like, what's going to happen with music, And so I'm like, maybe we need one last hurrah. We could take this show on the road temporarily and then come back and let real life hit us and settle down and do that, So you're like, oh, I don't know, maybe, whatever. And then I was like, well, cool, something to think about. And then I remember one day you introduced me, you started showing me schoolies, which is what they call a converted school bus.
I mean, I had stayed up hours in the evening because after she brought that to me, I was thinking, wow, this is a great idea. And we looked at RVs, and man, they were not in our price range at all whatsoever. But then we saw a school bus.
Well, so she immediately, one of the first things she's like, look, they do these buses. And, she probably showed me someone taking us on a tour of their bus on YouTube. But then she showed me videos of RVs getting in wrecks and videos of buses getting in wrecks. And she said, come on, these are made for kids. These things are pure steel. Like they are durable. They are safe.
I stand by that.
They're cheaper than an RV and they're safer than an RV. And I can do this. I'm like, you've never built anything. And you're like, I don't care. I can do it. If guys can do it, I can do it.
Let that be.
You're like, it's fine. I was like, okay, let me think on this. Yeah. And then it was like, okay, that's fine. But I need to compromise because I see all these people struggling just to get the seats out of a school bus initially, which is like, that's just like the
very first part.
Right. What do they call that? Reno day?
Yeah. Demo day.
Demo day.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just part of the demo of the bus to get it even workable to anything else. And I was just like, I know myself. And if I have to be, and it's you and I, and we got to get all these seats out of here, and that doesn't look easy. And then, the few steps right after that, I'm like, I'm going to be over it immediately. And I hate this idea. I was like, so let's compromise. Mm-hmm. and get something that at least the seats are out. I'm like, at least the seats are out. So we did.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what I appreciated about you, though. You were able to, you know, hone in and cone down my wild aspirations. Because if you don't know me, again, I'm of the type that just shoots for the stars, unwaveringly, ridiculous amounts of confidence. I mean, that's a good thing,
we should
right?
all be so confident and to think, you know what? Instead of thinking, I've never done that before, I can't do that. You just need to be like, well, I've never done that before, but how hard can it be? Like, that's more Karley's attitude, and she really gets things done.
I Googled it and YouTubed it, and I was like, well, if this bozo over here, no offense to bozos, but I was like, if a guy can do it, surely I can. And yeah, I never used power tools. My parents all thought I was going crazy when I started to ask for power tools and not music, instruments for Christmas and birthdays. So yeah, together we coned down the dream of building it out. And I mean, the bus that we're living in now, should you have the opportunity to come in and look at it, is truly all of my work. We've lived in it now for 6 years, like we were saying, and over those 6 years, we've transformed it.
It's evolved.
So much. We live in it, and we're like, this doesn't work. Let's change this. And that's the beauty about building it, is that you can take it apart and you can, make it new to whatever, your new vision is. And my skill sets are getting so much better. It's a process, but yeah.
Quite
so
the builder by now.
it's Karley the builder, I firmly do believe if they had shop class when I was a kid, they took that away. They gave me home ec. Shout out to my home ec teacher. She failed me for my eggs.
She makes great eggs, first of all.
Which is crazy. I didn't.
And what did she tell you, though?
I forget exactly how she worded it, but she told me I wouldn't be a good wife or something like that. And I'm like, or I would never get a husband. I think that's how she worded it. And, well, partly she was right.
Well, newsflash, that was never the goal.
Partly she might have been right. Well, goodness. But yeah, no, I believe that if we had shop class in middle school, high school, I would have totally gone down that route and gotten the chance to work with my hands earlier. That would have been so cool, because I really enjoyed watching all of the projects come to fruition. And there's no better feeling when your project comes together and you're like, that works, cool, I did that, now on to the next. But
I've literally heard her finish project and be like, holy shit, it works. Like, are you really that surprised?
When you're building something for the first time.
Did hours of research. I see you work diligently. You're going back, watching the video again mid-project.
Yep.
Like, oh, I need to see this part, which I totally understand. I do the same with my crochet.
Yeah, so we bought a partially converted school bus from a gentleman in southern Michigan. We took it to like an old Kmart parking lot. Drove it around.
First we took your dad because he's been to mechanic school.
That's true. My dad is a retired now semi-truck driver. So when I was thinking about buying a bus, I was like, dude, you gotta come check this out, because I don't know anything. At the time, I drove a Jeep Patriot or something like that. Like, I don't know about anything. So he took us. We met him down there.
It's always a good rule of thumb, though, to have a mechanic check it out. It was also easier to put him behind the driver's seat and get him to do a test run with it.
Yeah.
Even though mid-run, he pulled over and said, here, Karley, you take it now.
Yeah, we're on 23 going north in Michigan, and he pulls off of the expressway, the Carlton exit, and he's just sitting at the top of the exit ramp, and he puts it in park or neutral, puts the parking brake on, and says, well, get in. And I'm looking at him, and mind you, like, the guy who's selling it to us is standing in the bus.
Yeah, it was the four of us.
And I'm thinking, like, dude, don't do this to me. Like, I've never driven anything this big. He's like, if you're gonna buy this, you need to know how to drive it. And luckily, we're just turning left, and going straight, and turning left. Like, I didn't have to go through any crazy things, but
right, it wasn't far, and it was kind of out in the country.
Yeah, no big traffic. It wasn't like I was on 94 or anything like big expressway. But yeah, drove it. That was an empowering feeling. Getting behind the wheel, super scared. Like, I was white knuckling it. But, whoa! But it was an empowering feeling. I knew that in that moment that, I could do this. we could do this. So yeah, we bought it then. I think it was like, what was it,
I
75?
think technically we came back like a week later and bought it.
Yeah, you're right. He had to get some stuff out of it and whatever, what have you, but we took it
And
to
we
a
were,
Kmart.
we had to think about it and talk about it and just make it official and make sure that was really, what we wanted to decide to do together.
Yeah, because we almost tried to buy a fully converted one. It was like 40
Yeah,
grand.
that was another thing.
But this particular bus, yeah, so we bought it, took it to a parking lot. We drove around for hours backing it up because we knew we had to back it into the driveway.
Yeah.
Being that we lived, if you can imagine, the suburbs of Metro Detroit, houses, like, again, are so close together, and it's a dead-end road, and there's parking on both sides. And so we had, like, preemptively parked one of our vehicles on the street so that we knew that we could clear it. But we get there and back it down.
There are things like that you have to think about sometimes when it's like, okay, we're knowingly taking it to a tight spot. And we know that we need someone to not be here. So it's like we can't just arrive back and somebody's parked there and you don't know whose house it belongs to nicely ask them, hey, would you mind moving this for us? And it's like, God forbid I would ever inconvenience anyone anyway. So, like, I wouldn't expect that to be. So I was like, okay, we have to plan ahead. And it's like ever since then we've had to plan ahead for like everything. But it's like it gets easier. But yeah, you brought it home.
Backed it down the driveway.
What did we do? I think we both had a pair of headset earbuds in so that we could communicate with one another, so that I could make sure she didn't hit anybody's house.
House or car.
Right. It was so close.
Backup
though.
Camera. We just took it slow, steady and slow. I mean, it was like a quarter mile that I had to back it up, and
it wasn't a quarter mile. It was like 3/4 of a small block.
Okay.
In all fairness,
keep me humble. It felt like a quarter
Too
mile.
literal. Everyone should know this immediately. I'm very literal. You're going to get the real deal.
You're going to get
Holyfield.
The raw uncut of Heather.
Sorry, I can't help
Miller.
it, but it's all for her.
But yeah, we backed it up into the driveway, and I didn't hit the house, and the project started from there. And everything that we started with was like super simple. Like, I really dipped my toes into the water, but we got it in the last 6 years. We've got it, exactly how we want it, and it's been an entire journey. We could go hours and hours in on the bus, but I think that's for another episode.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So if you want to know more about the logistics of the bus, let us know.
This lifestyle is so great because you don't ever have to feel stuck.
Yes,
and I've had that in my life in other situations. Just like that stuck feeling is the worst. Whether it's in a job or a relationship or whatever, it's just like, we can go. Somebody's being rude to you? Okay.
Bye.
Turn the bus on. Let's leave.
Let's go.
We don't have to deal with this. Yep. Whatever it is. Just whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's just the flexibility that this life has afforded us.
Yeah.
And
oh, it's getting too cold here. Bye.
It's been an incredible journey. It's not for the faint of heart, but we have spent our entire marriage in this bus.
Pretty much. Almost.
Like, shy of like a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Like 10 weeks.
Is it 10 weeks? Yeah.
Something like that, roughly.
Like that. But yeah.
And here we are from Michigan. Man, we've been all over the place, though. We headed south from Michigan initially, ended up in was it Alabama? And we were thinking we would head to the desert in Arizona. That's a good place for nomads in the wintertime. And so we're like, okay, sounds good. Let's go. But then we got to Alabama, and it was like, it's cold here. It's cold in the desert. It's cold everywhere except Florida.
That particular year was the polar vortex year.
Yeah, it was 2018.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was cold everywhere. And then we saw something about Tiny House and Music Festival in Florida. And so when I woke up in the morning, Karley's like, look, I think we should change direction. We should go to Florida. It's warmer there. And things will be better for us. And let's go to this Tiny House and Music Festival and show our home and play music, So that's what we did. And that was fun for a while. We made a lot of friends. And that's where our journey really started on the road. And yeah, we've bounced around. We've been to California. We spent, over a year and a half in southern Arizona, Tucson.
Yeah.
That
was beautiful to be out there. That was during the pandemic.
That was so different. We're Midwestern gals from Indiana and Michigan, and being in the desert and the Saguaro National Forest. I didn't even know how to say Saguaro because it's like an SAGU, and it's like, don't even.
Yeah.
So
Don't sound that out.
I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot.
I felt like a constant tourist there. I mean, I by all rights was a constant tourist, but I was always out there taking photos. It's just the most
It's
beautiful
so
place.
beautiful.
I literally
And
tattooed
everything
it.
we had learned even by that point that everything was temporary.
Yeah.
So it's just like get it while you can, take it in. If it's beautiful and you want to see it again, take a picture because I don't know how else you're going to do it.
Get it tattooed.
Yeah, get tattooed on your leg, Karley.
That is honestly one of my favorite places, and if it had water, I think that would be the place where we
It was really difficult for me, at least, being like disconnected from any water source, and it was like the driest summer in
I
2020.
liked that about that. Like, I mean, I like.
But even for them, it was a dry summer.
Yeah.
No, but the dry heat is better, of course. Everyone knows that.
I liked that. That was definitely something that I enjoyed.
I came back to the Midwest, thought I was drowning in the air.
Yeah, we were on the side of the road. Not
on the side of the road.
We were. It was just outside of Memphis. We had broken down, and
A little bit.
and we were
A little bit.
we were working on something, and I'd shifted all the dogs into the car where Heather was at with the air conditioning, and I'm trying to fix the bus, and she comes up just to check on me, and she said, "How's it going?" And I just literally felt like I was drowning. It was so humid, coming from the desert and now into Tennessee. That was like June-ish, July, something like that. Gosh.
Lucky for us, it was a battery issue.
Well, it was an alternator issue.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
which drained our battery.
Yeah.
But then we
I was
had an
able to
extra
fix it.
battery.
We had an extra
So
battery.
she
I
switched
was
it right
able to
there on the
fix
side of the road.
alternator.
Even though it was like, hey, don't be doing this. It's right by the road where you have to pull out the battery. And she's like, yeah. Just go to the car. Did it herself.
Yeah. I'm not ever going to ask for help in that respect. So.
yeah.
I knew I could do it. I just timed it when there was no
Instead
cars
of
coming
saying,
by.
I'm going to do it, so just help me and let's get it done. You're like, okay, I'm not going to do it. Go to the car to go watch the dogs. Get out of here.
No, it's been an incredible journey to be able to learn all of those things.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. And using my my skills of trying to figure, cause and solutions out. So it's been fun. I'm a hell of a lot smarter than I was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
In respects to a lot of different things. So, but there's
Yeah.
always room to grow. So that's life.
Yeah.
So
You're always learning. She's not afraid to learn something new.
no.
She knows she can do it.
Yeah, because if everybody else can do it, I can do it too.
Yep. If anybody else can do it, you can do it.
Thanks. Life is good.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about us individually. We've talked about a little bit of the bus, where we met. We talked about Michigan. What else do you want to talk about? What are our frequently asked questions?
Well, the basics of where we're from and what our deal is. So that's pretty much our deal. Because it's so weird that we live in a bus or whatever. And
To some, and then to
well,
others,
it's like
it's cool.
weird enough to most people that we're two women together, and then it's like, oh, and we live in a bus, and we travel around full time, but we're not retired, and
Oh, that's the thing. Lately, it's been really frustrating trying to navigate the schooly life on the bus, living life, and
as
being young.
two people under the age of 55 also can become a problem. So anyway, we're lucky. We always figure it out. That's how we ended up. We're at the farm in Eureka Springs, which is a cool place.
It's a music venue, too, in
Yeah.
the summertime.
I think they have
quite a few.
Hillberry,
Mm-hmm.
and in May, and maybe another blues festival sometime.
Agreed. They had an Eclipse music festival this last year
That's
in
cool.
April, but I don't know if that's going to continue, obviously, for obvious
So-
reasons. But
We didn't know what to expect of Arkansas, but we're in a good place in Arkansas, so we feel good.
yeah.
We're content.
We're here because I'm working on my newest tattoo sleeve. If you are watching our podcast via this video, you can see a bit the beginnings of it, so it's not finished.
This is Karley's 30th birthday present.
It is. I turned 30 this year, and so I've always wanted this tattoo, and a couple of years ago I found an artist that I really enjoy, and, well, she works out of Northwest Arkansas, so that's really a great thing for us because we were able to travel to her, and we don't have to, buy a hotel or something like that. We can literally just plan it in our trips and and make a little pit stop over here. So it's worked out really.
It's nice to have that freedom in our lives because of our lifestyle, honestly.
That's been a common theme all year long and last year too. You know, having the ability to travel and
so
be where needed.
First of all, Karley's a trooper because her birthday was in April and she was going to get this tattoo in April, but my dad passed away in March. And so we had to kind of put some things on hold and shift our life around temporarily to deal with all that.
You're a trooper, though. We knocked that out. It was a tough time. And we have each other, and that's the most important thing. So flexibility was nice. We got to go down to Florida and able to wrap up that estate. And, you know, it wasn't all somber. We visited Disney a couple of times, but
we try to make the most of everything.
I think that's a good way to say it. We were able to be flexible, and we reached out to the artist, and she said, "Hey, yeah, we can reschedule to November, no problem."
Because we had very understanding.
Yeah, we had the whole music summer tour already set up.
Yeah,
so
and it was a great summer. Where did we spend it?
We started in Wisconsin this summer, and we were all the way up in the north parts of Wisconsin in a little town.
The Northwoods.
Shout out to all our friends up in the Northwoods. Yeah, we were up in... We stayed in Arbor Vitae, respectively, but more so people know the town Minocqua. And so we were up there for a good 3 months, 4 months, something like that. And it was...
Karley played a lot of music.
A
lot of fans. It got to the point very quickly that we couldn't go anywhere without being recognized. And so that's why we say it's so humbling to then leave that situation where you can't go anywhere without being recognized into the world where nobody knows who the hell you are, nor do they care. So it's like you have something to prove if you want a gig.
Especially as like an independent artist, you know, we do everything together now and by ourselves. I don't have a manager per se, and
no.
We don't have a manager per se, and I'm incredibly grateful for the role that Heather plays in my music career, because for many years after we worked together at that said bakery cafe, we didn't work together. I was just kind of doing music. Right. You were doing cosmetology.
Right. Before Bus Life, we had our very separate careers. So, yeah, I was at the salon 4 or 5 days a week doing hair. And she was working doing music 5-6 days a week, and we would normally maybe had Sunday off together, at least Sunday afternoon off together sometimes.
That's a little tangent here. That's why most of my songs refer to Sundays, because I wrote those at a time when all we had were Sundays.
That was the time that we had to connect.
So, and other times it was just in passing. You know, she'd get home from the barber shop, and I would be just heading out to.
Or I would just miss her. That was even worse.
Yeah. I left you lots of notes.
Yeah, you did. Left cute notes and poems for me to find.
But since we've been able to live on the bus, I'm really grateful, and not a lot of people may know this, or understand the gravity of the fact that you literally gave up your career to be on the bus. Because, like you mentioned earlier, it's hard to have different licenses in different states with regard to cosmetology,
right.
Just like how my
and the way
job...
we travel, which typically is a very long term, like sometimes it can be, but consistently it's not necessarily very long term. And
right.
So yeah, it really wasn't worth it for me.
It wasn't conducive to our lifestyle. And then we also gave
plus
car
COVID.
Away.
COVID was along during this journey.
Yeah,
I couldn't have done hair during that.
Man, I had a lot of my coworkers or colleagues, music colleagues in the Metro Detroit area, reach out to me thinking I was some sort of psychic, because we left in November of
2018, and we traveled around for like 6 months, and we came back for the summer and did music in Michigan again, and we wanted to change some things on the bus, so we did that, and then we left again in like November 2019.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's when wintertime is about to start, and we have to get headed south.
Yeah, and we went to Tucson. I had gotten a full-time position at one of the hospitals in Tucson, Arizona, as a radiation therapist.
And the goal there was Karley needed to be somewhere for at least a year
for
full-time to be able to obtain a traveling position.
And there was nothing. I mean, nothing in Michigan. Or else I would have stayed there and tried to
Well,
do
we were also thinking about, well, where can we live in the bus comfortably in the winter?
that too.
And
That
where
too.
would we want to go? And you had a cousin who was from Tucson, even though she didn't live there anymore at the time. So we
Yeah.
reached out
and
to
listen
her.
to this. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was funny. It was that we reached out to her thinking like, hey, we just want to get some information. Maybe, jog your memory here about like some cool spots or whatever, and here's what we're thinking. And she was like, holy shit, man. Christina, which is her now wife, and I are thinking about moving back to Tucson from like Costa Mesa, California. So both were making this travel back to their she's going back, but we're going there for the first time, but making this travel to Tucson, and it couldn't have been a better thing.
That was a good time.
To a cousin that I hadn't been close with in years because of proximity. She moved across the country when I was a kid, so it was an opportunity for me to get to know her as an adult, and you to get to really meet her and be around her. And
I heard all the stories from when they were kids.
yeah,
They would have a good time when they did get together.
they put my underwear in the freezer.
Because you fell asleep first? Or
yeah, I was a
just 'cause
child.
it
I'm
was
4 years
you?
younger than she is. And so her and Amy up in the cabin, you've been to the cabin, they wet my last
UP
pair of
of
underwear.
Michigan.
Or underwear. The last pair of underwear, and they put it in the freezer. So then I get up in the morning and I get, showered and looking for clothes. And my grandma pulls out this like paper thin, frozen pair of my underpants. It was good times.
Classic.
They laughed about it for hours.
They're still laughing about it right now.
I'm still laughing about it now.
It's funny.
27 years later.
I got the
I don't know how.
drama.
Too
Not
many years.
literally.
But
Good times.
yeah, so we moved to Tucson, and
We were there for almost 2 years, like
yeah. Well, we moved in 2019 November. because
October. We were there before Halloween.
You're correct. My first day was the 4th of November,
Mm-hmm.
2019 in Tucson. And, the world shut down for the pandemic in March of 2020.
Yeah, so actually what's interesting is Karley got her first gig in Tucson to play music on
13th.
that Friday, the 13th of March, when everything started shutting down. Because I remember your cousin who had an office job was like, oh yeah, I'll be there. I got to work from home today.
Yeah.
And it was like, it wasn't really out what was going on yet, at least not, so it was just like, wait, what?
Right.
Yeah, it was interesting. That was the beginning. So yeah, she did that one show on that day, and then it was like everything shut down. So it was like, oh, no more tries at getting shows.
No more
like,
gigs. I mean, and that was an interesting time.
the
in and of
hospital
itself.
really needed you at that time.
Yeah.
They needed you more.
That was an interesting shift in my mindset. I often will refer to my balance of life and balance of careers as being able to use the other side of my brain. And so that was a time where music really did get put on the back burner. I didn't pick my guitar up for like a year, it felt like. I play a couple of things, but really...
I mean, just at home, though, just around the bus.
Yeah.
Because I remember we were in the middle of the desert, and we were going to go live. And we're like, what can we do that would be cool? And so we decided that having you play on top of the bus would be cool. So we did all the work to get that set up, and then it was too windy.
It was so windy.
It was so windy. But yeah, I remember a few lives that you did during that time, like on the weekends and stuff. But you were pretty drained from what the hospital needed of you at that time, and all the extra precautions and all the things.
I mean, it's hard to expect anyone to have the stamina after wearing the whole get-up that we had to wear.
It was a mask and a shield.
Mask and shield,
and then the whole
goggles,
get-up when there was a knowing COVID
standard precautions.
patient.
Yeah. And then staying late because we would have to put those at the end of the day.
Well, no, you'd have to go in early in the morning also sometimes because people had to work the doors to make sure only patients were coming in and then like arguing with their families that they couldn't come in and shit.
Yeah. It was a trying time. But that ended up, my music colleagues were like, how the heck did you predict this? I didn't predict it. It just happened, and I'm really grateful for the flexibility and the opportunity.
Right, when everyone was saying you needed to quarantine all of a sudden, it's like, wait, what? Like, we already live in a bus in the middle of the desert, not really very close to anybody, if we can help it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is March, and so it's like the perfect time in Arizona as far as temperatures are concerned to boondock. Boondocking means like you're not plugged into your
So we have solar
outlets.
panels. We can be all self-sufficient temporarily,
We
or
have 150 gallons of fresh water,
mm-hmm.
so yeah, we were boondocking. We're in the middle of the Sonoran Desert off on BLM land, and we're
It's
tied to our
Bureau of
phones.
Land Management for anyone who doesn't know.
Bureau of Land Management. Yeah, it's federal land that you can park on and leave no trace. You can park up there for 14 days in a 28-day period. It's a
Yeah.
great resource if you are traveling or thinking about being a nomad, and whether you're in a bus or van, it's a really cool thing. And as long as you leave no trace, because a lot of people can ruin it for the
Yeah, there were
majority.
times people would leave like a whole pile of trash bags. And normally the people out there would all of a sudden come together like we hadn't been talking to anybody. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I have a truck, and my friend has a truck that they said they'll come tomorrow and get these bags so that they're not here. Because, I mean, that could ruin things for everyone when people
Absolutely.
do things. Not to mention like what it's doing to the environment, obviously. Yeah, don't do stuff like that. That's
Yeah,
not cool.
do not. But yeah, we were out there. We're tied to our phones and looking at like all of the news media talking about stay so far away. It was pandemonium. Everybody's freaking out, and I'm looking outside, and I kid you not, literal tumbleweeds going by, and I'm like, I think that we've got the
I
whole
think we're
stay
good.
away from people.
We were already doing that.
Good. So
I
yeah,
could be very introverted, so that's kind of more my style.
we stayed out there for a year and a half. And that was only because the pandemic really it had continued and continued, and there was no need after the year to move on. I could stick it out for a little while longer.
But then it was like, hey, we can move on and get paid more money to go some different places. And
Well, the reason I had gone to that job, we spoke a little bit to it of needing a full 1 year of full-time experience, was because I had goals to become a traveling radiation therapist, and I had goals to obtain one of those positions, and those positions require you to have that full year. So after the 18 months had gone by, was ready to take that leap, and that brought us to Kentucky. We have a lot of Kentucky friends and family here now on our socials. So if you're watching, shout out to Northern Kentucky.
yep, right outside of Cincinnati.
Yeah. And that's actually coincidentally where we're headed back to here in a few short weeks, which is
Out of the past 4 winters, this will be our 3rd winter there. Not consecutive, but we did do last winter, now this winter.
yeah. And it's not because it's particularly warm. It's just warmer
We
than
know
most.
that it's doable, though, for us,
Yeah.
because we were able last time to get it to where the bus's pipes didn't freeze, which was our problem the first time. So we were able to, we made a custom skirting for ourselves out of old billboard material, and that kept our pipes from freezing. So
Yeah.
we'll use that again. That was great. And we really like the area. And Karley knows she likes working at that hospital with those people. So,
And there's an art studio that you enjoy, so
yeah, there's Baker Hunt. What do they call it? Center and Cultural
art center
Arts.
or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. But Baker Hunt, if you look it up, you'll find them.
It's in Covington.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool place.
Kentucky. It's really cool. And like just that downtown area of Newport and Covington is really cool. Going to Baker Hunt is great. I've done stained glass. Karley and I did a sewing class there last year. We did a cooking class there last time we were in town, and a stained glass class together.
You've done oil painting too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. And it like gets me out of the house and gives me something to do and to learn a new, art form, and just I like being creative and
Absolutely.
having that flexibility in my life to be able to do that. I'm really thankful.
Yeah. It's good. It's having that ability to do that. You just booked some more classes too. I'm looking forward to. And if you guys didn't know, now that we've been living on the bus, we talked about how you had abandoned your cosmetology career for the road and for me, and we've worked together now. It's all come back around to we are able to work together now, and it's been an incredible experience to be back in that mindset.
So a few things is that we design all of Karley's merch for her music. Not only do we design all of it now, we print most of it. So like the t-shirts and things, we have a Cricut, and we print and press the shirts and the koozies and things like that. So
Hats
we
coming
work
2025.
together on those things and keeping the stock up, you know, because we're not. I mean, we live in a small space. We can only do so much at a time.
Well, not only that, but you are, my photographer, videographer.
Yeah, I go to most of the shows, almost all the shows. I take videos and pictures. I talk to the people. Karley doesn't usually take a break, although she should start. She really should. And she kind of has, but I need her to continue on that trajectory.
True.
So,
yeah, you're taking a camera class.
oh, photography class. Yeah, with the camera, the real camera though. That's different. I normally use my phone for everything because it does a pretty good job. Yeah. But that'll be cool too.
And that's what I'm excited about is your drive to learn something new and go out there and how it
anything
can
to support my wife. I'm good with that, and I don't like thinking about it as a job, so I like that too.
Yes.
And I have the flexibility that if there's a day where I'm like, I can't today, I can't people today, I just can't do it today. She's totally understanding, and, you know, it is what it is. Like, are they mostly things that she could do all by herself? Yeah, sure.
I don't want to, though.
Does that save her a lot more energy if she has someone assisting her that she then gives to you, the viewers, when she's on stage? Like
1,000%.
Totally.
1,000%.
Like we're in the Northwoods of Wisconsin. Like driving's a pretty easy gig there, except for there are deer everywhere, and you do have to be extra alert, I would say. But when we're in places like Michigan, it's at least an hour to most gigs, if not 2. So just the driving alone and in traffic and etc., like that takes it out of her. I do the driving typically. I don't know. I just assist her, and in anything that I can, anything that takes it off her plate that I can do, I'm like, cool. Whatever. We're a team.
We absolutely are. And that's what I don't think that a lot of people may understand. We often,
especially because I refuse to call it a job.
Yes.
Because that's the thing. When you meet people, and it's like they can't get to Karley, so I'm the next best thing. So they come and seek me out, and they have a million questions for me.
Yeah, that's always.
Who are we? Where are we from? What is our deal? And that's why we need a podcast, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, they're like, well, what do you do for a living? It's like, no, I don't.
That's
and they don't like that. But I refuse to call it a job because I don't want to think of it as a job. Because it's something that I truly love to do, and I don't want to think of it as a job.
Yeah.
If I just think of it as supporting my wife because she's awesome and she deserves it, then that's fine. I have the freedom to do that. You know? It's nice. A lot of people do. I have learned since living in the bus, it's actually been a whole thing since not having a typical job. That is a question, one of the first that people like to ask you when they meet you. And it also seems as though many like to sum you up according to what that response is. And so it's like
they tie your worth with
right. If you say you're a doctor, obviously they are going to think differently about you. If you say, oh, I'm a mechanic, or I do hair, or like some people find out Karley is a radiation therapist. They find out that Karley's a radiation therapist, and they're like, well, why is she doing music? And it's like, what? I don't know. It's strange to me because it's like because she's good at it and she enjoys it, and we're not asking you to pay our bills, so why do you care?
Right. Well, I just think that a lot of people have an unhealthy relationship with their job.
Yeah.
And they tie worth to their job.
It's like they want to put, you tell them the gig, the job, and they put a dollar amount to it, and then that gives you a value to them.
True.
Or they give that job as something to be valued. Like, everyone values a school teacher, but they're not paid substantially. Not everyone values one, but everyone should.
Right.
But they're not paid. And so it's not like they would be especially viewed as like a doctor. But I don't know. It's a whole thing, and I don't like to get wrapped up in it.
Well, something that I've learned by working in cancer care in particular is that, like, there's only so much time that we have on this earth, and there's only so many things that should be important, and we have to evaluate what those things are, and the earlier you can do that in life, the better off you are. And so we've really been grateful to find balance in the things that we love. And for me in particular, and I'll speak for my own self, is that like I love music. It's no secret. I love to play music. I love to be around it, but I can't do it 12 months out of the year because then I hate it. Because then it comes,
Anything that becomes a job,
you know?
then anything that you do all the time just gets to be taxing.
Music is so physically taxing on my body. I'm standing up there for 3 hours. I'm entertaining you, jumping around, dancing around, playing the
And you're the whole
guitar.
band. You're doing every instrument. You're doing all the
I know.
things.
And I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of my art. But at the same time, it's just like I need to learn I need to take care of myself and have that self care aspect of it. And so being able to take some time away from the guitar, I haven't played the guitar in a week now, and it's crazy to me. And this time I won't. That's something I'm telling myself candidly now. I know on camera, but off camera, reminding myself to don't let your calluses go away. But that's for myself and other musicians. But I'm just trying to have that balance and prepping my mind to go back into the healthcare world. I'm not burnt out. And this is not to give shade to the healthcare workers that I'm going to go hang out with and work with, but they're all burnt out. Think about it. Like
Do anything all the time for
they've,
years on end. You're going to be burnt out if it should be
and
expected at this
anytime
point.
that people, the departments or centers are looking for locums, they're traveling healthcare professionals, they're running a tight crew. They're running a short-staffed crew, and you have all of these responsibilities that get added to these people, and it's not, a fun place to be when you're constantly, up a creek without a paddle, and you're just trying to get the day done. And
But also from doing that job, you've been around the people who have cancer and that are possibly coming to the end of their lives, whether they like it or not. Like this isn't something we choose. This is something that happens to us. And you're there during those hard moments where they're figuring out, like, this might be the end. And what did I just do? I just slaved away at some stupid job for X amount of years for
absolutely,
what?
absolutely.
Or they're like, so most of them look at Karley and her lifestyle and they say, good for you. Like, you're doing it. Get out there and do those things because you only have one life. Like, they've really come face to face with that.
Well, that's the thing is that when we bring in our patients each day for their treatment, it's name and birth date. And when those people recite their name and recite their birth year, and that year gets closer to yours, or if not younger, if they're younger than you, it really does put life into perspective. Like, okay, well, this person is, my age or younger, and they're having to deal with all of these things, and I'm complaining about the traffic that I was stuck in. Like,
Right.
it
It
really
helps to
doesn't
put
make
things in perspective.
right. So it's given us the ability to just kind of take a step back and look, hey, like like music, I love music, and I also really do like my career in radiation therapy. I enjoy the physics and the science of it. I'm a total nerd. I love looking at my CT images and my CBCTs and getting to see the anatomy of folks and you know that aspect of it. I also love being able to talk to the patients. Everybody's got a story. That's what I always found pretty fascinating about working in this job because again, like you had just said, like people are at the end of their life, potentially, not everybody, but and they have lived
Even if they're not, like a lot of them are having those what if
crisis.
questions and
Yeah.
they're going through that crisis for sure.
And getting to know these people in a vulnerable time is really opening. And they're not always the nicest. That's something that I've learned, and to not take personal, is that they're going through this trauma of coming to terms with their cancer diagnosis, and they're taking it out on the easiest person, and that would be me. I'm the one who gets to see them 5 days a week for however many weeks, and so it's something that I've learned to just kind of how to be
Yeah.
understanding and how to be patient and how to be kind and how to treat people for the people that they are. I think that's lost on a lot of them. People is just like how to treat people for the people and not everything else that's comes with them, and not how to not be prejudiced. And You know, because it's super easy to judge a book by their cover, but you really truly don't know anybody until you actually get to talk to them and get to know their story. You know,
Yeah.
I've met some incredible humans over the last few years being in healthcare that way, because you get to talk to them for, and you know, quite a few weeks, and instead of talking to them about their cancer or you know whatever, of course I always check in on them. That's not you know something I don't do, but teachers or
You know that they're tired of
astrophysicists.
talking
Yeah.
about that one point.
Absolutely. They just want to be seen as a human for like
Right.
15 minutes.
Little normalcy.
So, and I learned a lot from them, and that's one of the things I learned from that. So,
Yeah.
being able to do these things is great, and we've taken our life back in a lot of ways just through those lessons that
We're not going to wait until we retire to go travel or do the things that we actually want to do. Which, I mean, that's a nice motivation. I guess it gives you something to look forward to, but you can always find more things. You've never traveled everywhere, you know?
Well, we're not guaranteed tomorrow, and
Right.
you know, like,
right. Absolutely.
you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Day to day, month to month, year to year. So, we're out here doing it, you know, and I'm really proud of us. It's not been easy. It's, how do you say?
There have been obstacles.
Yeah. And undulating up and down types of things. Lots of crazy stories. We won't.
It's like driving through the Ozarks. It's like topsy-turvy in every way.
Yeah.
Going uphill.
Driving through Sedona.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was fun.
You want to hear a crazy story?
No.
No.
Save it.
We'll save it. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, it's kind of a testament to our life. It's been a wonderful 11 years together and a whole lifetime to go. Mm-hmm. How long do you think we'll be in this bus?
I don't know. Initially, I had said, maybe like 2 years. I didn't know what to say. But it's like, then you're in it and you're doing it. And you're like, okay, let's make some changes if we want to keep doing this. And it's like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. And then it's like, it's only gotten better from there. So we'll keep doing it as long as it works for us.
Yeah.
Because that's all that really matters is...
As long as this bus turns on.
As long as it works for us. No, I don't want to get to that point. I don't want it to be like we have to retire because the bus shit out on us. I don't want that.
I don't either.
So, no, not as long as the bus still runs.
I always envision the bus wherever we're at, though.
Like how could it fit in here if it's not there? Or what do you mean by that?
Like wherever we end up.
Oh, if you look at a property thinking about would I want to own that, you'd be like, but where does the bus
Where does
fit
the bus
in?
go? And yeah, like,
I do that too.
You know, because it could be like a cute, you know.
I know there are times where I want to be like, oh, like I'll call you if we're both driving, right? We see a lot of places while we're both driving, so I'll call you. I'm like, oh, did you see that place? And it's like, that'd be perfect, except I wouldn't want to have the bus there. But so it's not perfect because we need to have the bus wherever it is.
We need
some land. We're going to create our own oasis, and the bus has to be a part of it.
One day, whenever that day comes.
Well, I think that sums it up. That gives everyone a good idea of who we are.
Yeah, we've been down quite a few
why we've started
rabbit
a
holes.
Podcast. What we're up to right now a little bit.
Absolutely.
And who knows what to expect in the future.
Yeah, so if
there's a lot.
Listening to us or watching us here on this video podcast, comment below what you think you want to know. Did we miss something that you are dying to know about?
Yeah, what questions do you have for the next episode?
And stay tuned. Make sure you are hitting subscribe and following along because this is just the beginning of
comment, and share.
Absolutely. It's the beginning of our podcast journey. This has been the first episode of Stories from the Pink Bus. My name is Karley.
And I'm Heather.
And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Be kind to one another.
Take care.